Welcome to the Afterspin, opinions from thought leaders in our state. I want to ask Becki Gray and Brad Crone. In the wake of 9/11, the federal government devised the Real ID and set a date of October 2020 for everyone to have this identification. Now, to get it, you've got to present proof of your place of birth and your residence. Now, our Department of Motor Vehicles is saying they aren't sure whether everybody needs a real ID or not. Do we or don't we? Becki?
Well, I think it depends on what you want to do. If you have a passport and you want to travel internationally, I'm not sure that you need that additional real ID. If you want to drive an automobile and you have a North Carolina driver's license or a driver's license from any state, I'm not sure you need a real ID. I understand that the airlines will accept the pre-check, as an additional check
Known
on
identification
this.
traveler or whatever it is.
So, I guess it depends on what you want to do. I'm not sure what you would want to do that would require a real ID if you have these other things. Now, if you don't have any of these, then a real ID may be a good thing for you to get.
Well, if you don't have any of these, you're going to have enough proof to be able to get a real ID.
Yeah.
The crowds have just been overwhelming DMV offices over the state. Is that the reason why they're backing away from this idea of saying everybody's got to have it?
The implementation date's going to be October the 1st, and they're not going to be able to make the date. And the one other issue, you've got a number of states, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, for example, are just starting the process of issuing real IDs. So you do need it if you're going to do domestic travel. And for one, I don't have a passport that's valid right now. So when I'm out on the road traveling to Nashville or Memphis or up to New York, I've got to have a real ID. So I've gone through that process.
You need a passport to go to Dallas?
Well, if you don't have the real ID, you'd have to have a passport.
I'm sorry, I was trying to be funny.
Yes.
But so far as it goes, would that be considered what we need for the voter identification if we ever decide to enact?
Well, I just find it extremely intrusive that when you provide the ID, you've got to give them a birth certificate, you have to give them a Social Security card, and then two other identifiers that say you live where you say you're going to live.
Yeah.
And I just think it's overreach.
Well, and I think it's important to remember this was done after 9/11 when we were all on high alert for everything. And I think in retrospect, maybe it is not the answer to the problem we were trying to solve.
Yeah, my wife and I went through this process, and there were a number of people. They had a separate line for people wanting real IDs, and went through this process. But there were several people there that day who had minus one particular piece of information that they needed, had to go back and come back.
And get at the end of the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the best thing to do for DMV is go ahead and schedule an appointment. That's what Jesse Turp is, the DMV commissioner, is recommending that everybody do. So if you're interested in doing it, get a schedule an appointment.
Well, there were people who had made appointments were still having to wait for that matter. Well, anyway, thanks for watching the Afterspin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.